Today's show, as always, sponsored by LivasaIslandApparel.com for gear that represents the South Pacific Island languages and cultures accurately and responsibly. Put on for the culture. Catch the wave at LivasaIslandApparel.com. Welcome to another episode of the BALLINESIAN Podcast. Samoans talking about sports. It's mostly football, but we're also going to get into basketball, WWE, a couple other things. Definitely stay tuned. Lots of stuff coming up in our quick hits. I am Lance, Charger fan, here with Coach Forrest, Raider fan. We're going to be talking about our teams, all sports. We are here on the Polytickin Network.
Man, I feel so like official to be on the Polytickin Network. Man, like I hear people talking about them out here in Washington. Seth Marcus, if you guys are listening, you don't know your reach. If you do, great. If you don't, the reach is long. Actually, I'm not a pause.
Got that long reach.
I'm not a pause guy. I'm too old to be doing that. But, yeah, man. No, I'm telling you, you guys reach a really good audience. So, yeah, man.
What do you got? The Polytickin Podcast every week. Definitely tap into the Apple Podcast and the Spotify streams on YouTube, the Polytickin Network, where we have all different videos going out for the different shows. Also, be ready for the Pacifica Movie Starter Kit and our newest episode, a review of the documentary Lupifa Lele, Soaring Doves by Carson's own Daniel Poesi. You can check out that documentary on his YouTube page, DPoesi2, before we talk about it and you hear the review coming up. We are sponsored by Levasa Island Apparel on IG at _Vasa. Put on for the culture. Catch the wave. Hoodies, sweaters, zip-ups, quarter zips. We get all the cold weather gear you need while also showing off your culture with different designs, different collections. Definitely tap in to the Instagram and even the TikTok. Follow on TikTok because Levasa is definitely jumping off, going to be doing some more like showing their stuff, showing the merch. So definitely tap in, follow, subscribe to the stories. You're going to see a bunch of different merch. They got the Dodger blue quarter zips, which with GNX dropping the Dodger blue track is dope. The Lakers, or sorry, not yet the Lakers, but the Dodgers just won a world championship.
Never the Lakers.
LeBron's missed 19 3-pointers in a row. Damn it.
LeBron
showing
is
that
a
age.
Liar.
Showing that age.
He's a pathological liar.
Yeah, like his shot is not true. Let's you mind we get into the Chargers first? It's good.
They're still in the playoff fight, I guess.
But the Chargers heading down to Atlanta to take on Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. Walk into your trap, take over your trap, as Kirk Cousins says. The Chargers were 7-4. They get the win here in a really tough game. Needed 4 interceptions thrown by Kirk Cousins to win by 4. 17-13 was the final score in Atlanta. Derwin James got the game-sealing interception, but during the game, late-round rookie quarterback Tarheeb Still, 2 interceptions, one of them for a touchdown, and also a very clutch pass defense on Drake London, who was about to convert and put the Falcons in a better scoring position to try to win the game. The defense definitely stepped up big. Offense, a disappointing showing versus the Falcons, who kind of expected to beat on or like kind of run up the score a little bit, show off your offensive abilities. But the Falcons do have Jesse Bates at safety, used to play for the Bengals, and they also have Justin Simmons at safety, who used to play for the Broncos. Both of those guys, Pro Bowls, if not all pro players. Not that they did much this game, but I feel like the threat kind of stopped Justin Herbert from really pushing the ball downfield.
I mean, Bates, I'm very good safeties. Bates is a little older right now. Justin Simmons is still he was like projected to be like top 2 free agents this summer. So
didn't sign with anybody for a long time.
Right, which was weird because exactly he was up there in free agents to be signed, like ranked high available free agents coming out of the offseason. And I don't know. Maybe he was enjoying his off time. You know, some guys have never had like off time like that, and maybe I don't know.
True. He's been grinding out for years. And now he's like, you know what? I'll wait a couple games, see who's getting a good jump on the playoff race and kind of join a team.
But also,
if not for the money, you want to play playoff games.
Right. With those guys back there, and I know you're about to touch on it too, but not having J.K. Dobbins in there definitely probably changed a lot for Justin Herbert alone. Like
J.K. Dobbins with a knee injury last week was planning to be out this week versus the Falcons and then week to week, but the Chargers went ahead and put him out for a month on injured reserve. So he's on injured reserve, out for at least the next 4 weeks, hopefully healed up, take some time off and ready for a fresh playoff run. Hopefully, maybe if we get J.K. Dobbins, because the way it looked in this game, Gus Edwards, Gus bus, flat tires, slow start, bad ignition, whatever it was for the bus that couldn't move. Gus bus, 6 carries total for 32 yards. Now, 5 yards a carry, I'm down for, but only 6.
Right.
That's crazy.
You only get 6. I think it's just a matter of him. He hasn't really played much this season, as much as
True. He was injured for a while.
Right. So I think, again, like you said, just came out, with some flat tires, a little rust on him.
Hopefully he gets more like inside the 10-yard line carries, goal line carries, because that's his thing, right? Strong. And when he was with the Ravens and Lamar, they had that, option attack, but it freed him up to really become the scoring back.
Right. That short yardage, big back.
Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry.
Right. Oh my gosh. I think him and Kimani Vidal will really have to be, like, I know they're a committee in the backfield with J.K. Dobbins getting the majority of carries, but I think now they're going to have to really share carries between Gus and Kimani Vidal for them to pick up the slack for J.K. Dobbins so he gets back.
And that's what happened in this game. Gus Bus came out and was replaced by, like you said, rookie running back Kimani Vidal, but also by special teamer and backup running back Hassan Haskins. So I don't know if that's just to kind of keep him fresh. I mean, we saw a big-time backup running back for the Raiders, Sincere McCormick, making freaking great plays, but I don't think this guy has the same kind of wiggle or strength or speed. And it really shows if the running game is not going to work, then this offense needs to run through another rookie, wide receiver Ladd McConkey, who had 9 catches and 117 yards in this game versus Atlanta. Definitely rookie wide receivers in their first year take time to kind of learn the system, adjust to the speed, and then it's the second half of the season where they kind of pick up the pace and start showing up. Some of the exceptions to that rule were like Brian Thomas. Like, he was scoring for the Jaguars from day one, just like hit him in stride. It's a touchdown. But a bunch of these other receivers, even Marvin Harrison Jr., I guess Malik Neighbors has been a target machine until he got kind of banged up. Daniel Jones is gone.
You just have to be like really good at drafting like receivers like that to find like that diamond in the rough. Like, I mean, the Raiders are very good when they drafted Brock Bowers. So I don't know. I mean,
top 13 player in the draft, like definitely in the first round, you're getting those guys. And Ladd McConkey basically was a super late first rounder that the Chargers traded up a couple picks in the second round to get him at like 33 or 34 or 34 or 35.
I think the Chargers were trying to get Bowers at the right price though, because they were really trying to shore up that line. They weren't going to take him with the pick that they had,
the fifth overall pick.
They really need help on the line, but they were if they had the opportunity to trade back and get some value, they were definitely looking to draft a guy like Brock Bowers. But
that'd be crazy. Bowers and Herbert. Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, Georgia teammates, and
you can see it because they both kind of find like the open spaces in the zones, and they kind of just sit in there and really good hands. For Ladd McConkey, he wasn't like that guy in the like top 10 in the country, but like he was definitely like pushing the moving the chains, making big catches, and then you knew he was going to be a really good pro. Brock Bowers was just Brock Bowers did everything.
And he's a big ass receiver. He's a tight end moving like a receiver, so you can put him anywhere. Ladd McConkey a little bit smaller, right? Just watching him through like the first 2/3 of the season, definitely, especially this being the first year that we are without longtime Charger wide receivers Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Those two's traits and production needed to be replaced. And I kind of feel like you're getting a 2-for-1 in Ladd McConkey. Like, he's definitely got that that route running and reliable hands that Keenan Allen had, but we've seen him time and time again over the season going up the sideline and making big time catches, winning balls versus like 50-50 balls, and also being explosive down the field. So he's like Mike Williams' potential with much better hands, with Keenan Allen's reliability, dependability, and quickly finding that rapport and trust with your signal caller and Justin Herbert has been doing big things. Like again, he's turned it on in the last 5 or 6 games, but he also again 9 catches for 117 yards in clutch moments in a one-score game. Ladd McConkey, currently the leader of all rookie wide receivers in yards. Let's see. Rome Odunze for the Bears has 543. Marvin Harrison Jr. has 606. Malik Neighbors, we mentioned, 740. Brian Thomas, we mentioned, 765. Ladd McConkey, 815 yards after this big game with versus Atlanta. So definitely, if the run game's not working, if we don't have J.K. Dobbins, if Quentin Johnson, who had a couple more drops this game, doesn't turn it on, Josh Palmer, if he doesn't show up, then it's going to be the Ladd show. Which is cool. I like that. I like that a lot, and I'm down for that. But, I mean, 117 yards. Justin Herbert only had 147 total passing yards in this game. 16 to 23, 147 yards, no touchdowns, sacked 5 times. He rushed 5 times for 1 rushing yard. So it's not the game from Justin Herbert that was going to help your fantasy football playoff chances.
Definitely not. Definitely not, because I started there for a game.
Yeah, he had like 8 points. I was like, Justin, what is this? That's not going to help.
Like, bro, I just need you to average 17. That's all you got to do. 17. You know what I mean?
It's not that bad. Average. It's like that. It's like that Porsche in the carport of like the poorhouse. It's like, oh, we got him like a beast here, but no one's gonna see it because that's. I mean,
someone unleash him.
Yeah, definitely unleashed. Well, he had his opportunities here, it didn't work out. Luckily, no turnovers, which was good, but again, no touchdowns produced by Justin Herbert.
Well, if you're not going to throw touchdowns, then at least you're protecting the ball. So,
good point.
As a Chargers fan and coaching staff, you gotta take that. If he's not gonna, if he can't get the ball into the end zone, at least he's not throwing it at the other team. Because there was a lot of that this Sunday and on Monday. So,
oh geez, that Monday night game was crazy. Let's see, 117 divided by 147, almost 80% of Justin Herbert's pass yards went to Ladd McConkey, so he's definitely doing big things. But Justin Herbert needs to be better, or else the Chargers are going to be out in the wild card round. I don't know if the defense is going to be able to do the same thing, to the Steelers or to the Texans, even. Like, I mean,
probably not.
We'll see how that goes. But the Chargers right now, sitting at 8-4, currently the first wild card. The Ravens are 8-5. The Broncos are 8-5, so half game ahead of those two teams, but with like a 90-something% chance to make the playoffs as a wild card. This next week is at Kansas City versus the Chiefs. So if the Chargers can win in Kansas City versus Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, everybody, that does up the possibility that it's going to be the Chargers could win the AFC West division. But again, I think the Chiefs are like 11-1, right? So it would take like the Chiefs losing out starting this week for the Chargers and the Chargers winning out to take the division, which is not likely. So it's more kind of just managing, no more injuries, right? Get the momentum going at the right time. Jim Harbaugh, new coach, he said this in the locker room, trying to convince the guys. He's like, I've been around a lot of winning teams. I've been around teams that made it to the Super Bowl and kind of catch that wave, so to speak. And he was like, I feel it here. And I know that's some locker room coach speak, right? Like motivating your guys, but these fools believe it. You see like half the team like nodding with their eyes open. Yeah, coach. Yeah, we got the special, dude. We got the magic. We'll see. There's a lot of really good teams, especially in the AFC. Man. So
if you can make people believe something, I mean,
you get elected president.
You know what I mean? You can do anything.
Yeah, but that's what I have for the Chargers this week. Hopefully can pick up a big win in Kansas City and pretty much lock up a playoff spot for us. Speaking of the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey, look, man. If it wasn't for some blown call some stupid rule. You know what I mean?
Whoa, what a crazy ending.
We would at least had the chance.
Let me just set it up. 19-17, the Chiefs win. The last play of the game, the Raiders were on the Kansas City 32, right? Would have been a 49-yard field goal attempt to win the game, but miscommunication between the guard, the center, the quarterback caused an early snap, a fumble recovered by Kansas City, and Kansas City sneaks off again with a 1-score win off of some late. Oh, the controversy was that initially the refs called offsides.
Encroachment. They called it encroachment. And someone was in the
over the line of scrimmage,
right over the line of scrimmage. But the clock wasn't running. So if the clock's not running, I don't know, some bullshit like that. It had
it went from like, okay, the Raiders are going to have to kick an even longer field goal to, oh yeah, we're going to let Kansas City keep that fumble. Right. The game is pretty much over.
That's some
controversy, drama.
Like that only happened for the Chiefs.
Oh man, that's true.
It's like the dude like changed the rule on the spot. Like no one's ever heard of that rule until that.
Some tuck rule. Oh, I think he was trying to keep the ball.
Oh gosh, man. But like it was very encouraging. Like I said, you asked me earlier before the show what I thought the Raiders' take was this week or for the rest of the season. It's just a hope or hopeful because there's a lot of things that you can look forward to. Like despite the defensive shortcomings this year, Jack Jones he looks like he's a really good corner when he has to be, you know. Maybe concentration wise, maybe if he's in the game, like all the games the same way, then it'll be better. Jacorian Bennett, also another young guy who he looks pretty good at most of the game. You know what I mean? He just has some things to work on.
Couple spots.
Right. We'll get a full D line back next season with Christian Wilkins still on the roster. Hopefully they can find a way to re-sign Kuntz, who's out there. But I do think they need to re-sign like the guys that are there. The second half that showed up, like Kalavion Chason, the other defensive end.
Oh, Chason was on fire in this game.
Right. Kind of like, I know it's just a couple of games since he got signed, but well, I mean, compared to his career, he's doing pretty well. It's like a revival for him, getting picked up by that. A lot of guys respond to things like that when they're kind of pushed to the side and no one like really wants to sign him again. He was a very high draft pick coming out of LSU. Yeah. Drafted by the Jaguars and just never really panned out. I think he had another, I don't know what the other team was that signed him for like, I think it was the Panthers that signed him for like maybe the off season, and then right before the off season they dropped him. So he's showing up pretty well. There's a couple other guys.
He's so good. He was doing the same like power swipe move, and that was beating the tackle so much that the Chiefs benched their left tackle in the game.
I just think that was bad. They might have to I've never seen that. Like,
is Kingsley Sumatia still there? We need to get him back. Did he get hurt? He was doing so good.
Yeah, he was, unless I think moved him inside. But either way, I think he did get hurt. But they're gonna have to get him back because that guy is gonna be a real liability coming into the playoffs. Down the street, like if the Chargers watch the game, I'm sure their scouts are. They're gonna really look to see who's on that right side, starting against them this Sunday. So,
true, yeah.
But a lot of hope. I mean, Brock Bowers again. Brock Bowers, gosh,
monster,
so good. And a lot of people were questioning drafting him. I get it. There's a lot of holes. Maybe they could have used another. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah,
14 targets, 10 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown from a rookie tight end.
And 30 points in my fantasy. In my other
nice.
So, yeah, it worked out. Again, the draft is not a actual science. Sometimes you're taking chances. You see guys play. You see the film. It doesn't always mean it's gonna translate over to the next level. But for Brock Bowers, it's just as advertised. He did it in college, did it in high school, and he's definitely doing it now as a pro. They got Michael Mayer back, and pairing those two together, because they do run, I don't know who the next offensive coordinator is now, but if you're looking to take that job for the Raiders and you're looking at the two tight ends that you have, you got to be excited with Jacoby Myers if they can get him to stay longer too.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good core of receivers, you know. They got Tucker, who's pretty like he's good. He can produce when they're running plays for him. He made plays last season. He's made some plays this season. And I think consistency at the offensive coordinator position for the Raiders would do wonders for a lot of guys playing right now. Just some consistency, you know, learning.
Versatility.
Yeah,
I think, but that's Brock Bowers because you can have 12 personnel, right? You can have 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends with Bowers and Mayer and 1 running back. Yep. But then you could also pop Bowers out to the slot or even outside receiver, and now you have 13 or now you have 11 personnel. Mike Mayer's on the line. You can put Mike Mayer at fullback. Now you got an I formation. There's so many versatile pieces that can fit and really keep defenses unaware of what's happening. Because usually you see 2 tight ends come out, run, right? Like these guys ain't got no hands. They don't have speed. Everybody move up to the line is probably a run. You can't do that if the Raiders are in 12 personnel. Not with Bowers and Mayer and Jacoby Myers. Find another big time wide receiver.
There's going to be some good running backs in the offseason, free agency. So I mean, they can solve that problem with that because they are going to have to find an answer in the backfield. McCormick did look good. That's one game, not even a whole game. So you want to see some consistency back there before you're like, oh no, we got McCormick, let him play. Because the same thing happened with Zeus last year. He had a good 2 last games, and everybody's like, oh, we're good. We can let Jacobs go. And now what? So yeah, crazy. But I like Najee Harris. Najee Harris is going to be a free agent. That'd be nice to see him in the backfield with the Raiders.
Week 14, you guys travel to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. Is there anything you're looking forward to seeing the Raiders do in that game versus Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and them?
I think, just to see who's going to play quarterback, because also Aiden O'Connell did look good. It's tough. Yeah, like I'm saying that, and people are like, "Yo, well, how many times have you seen a quarterback have a ball bounce off his chest?" Honestly, I've seen it a few times. So, you know, I mean, there are some quarterbacks that have happened to. But Aiden O'Connell, he's not a runner, but he does know how to throw that thing, you know, to his teammates. So I want to see how he plays, or maybe they'll give Ritter a chance. But and then just if Brock Bowers can continue his dominance at that position, like Kelsey, we all know it. It's not me being a hater because he's a chief or whatever. Because honestly, Kelsey's been the best tight end in the league for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Now you got Brock Bowers. Does Brock Bowers block?
He does.
Oh, hell yeah.
Blocks. Yeah. If you had to rate him, he'd be anywhere from fair to good, but still like better than like 40-50% of the league at blocking, you know, at tight end. Mike Mayer, he blocks as well, you know, and they're big guys too. They're not like skinny dude like Gesicki.
Yeah.
Look at Gesicki. If I'm playing defense and like Gesicki's blocking me, no, he's not blocking me.
Is he not? I thought he was a bigger tight end too.
He's taller.
Okay.
Yeah,
but doesn't have the depth.
Yeah. But like guys like Gesicki too. Out of Penn State, really great receiver, man. Which is Jonas Smith also, who is with the Dolphins now, who replaced Gesicki. Isaiah Likely, who's like a red zone receiver. Like they'll throw to Mark Andrews until they get down to like the 20-yard line, and it's like, hey, why don't you put in Isaiah Likely? And then, you know, I mean,
week 1, he had like a 50-60 yard. He had a long touchdown, and they showed off his speed too. But none of those guys are. I mean, they're popping, but they're not. Definitely not on the level of.
Isaiah Likely coming out of high school was the #1 tight end in the country. He was definitely the 5-star.
He looks skinny.
Everybody was expecting him to like be the next like Kittle. You know what I mean? When he was coming out. Oh yeah, so
I haven't seen him have that kind of tenacity. No one matches Kittle's like willingness, want
when I look at Kittle,
lay into defenders and block.
I look at Kittle, and Kittle looks like the offensive version of Max Crosby. That's what I compared it to when I'm thinking one of the other.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think Max Crosby on defense and Kittle on offense. So
All right. Before we get to our quick hits, we're going to be talking about fighting in football. We're going to be talking about the Steelers, the Ravens, all these other teams, Browns. Before we do that, me and Sammy are in a Superflex league together and played each other, I think, last week. She was like in third place and I was like in eighth and I beat her and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing my best, okay? I'm trying to get in these playoffs."
No, man, that if she's in a better position to make playoffs and win, you got to do everything in your man.
Collusion!
Or better or for worse.
Hey, if your team is so good, just beat me. I'm just a little chill guy, not gonna make the playoff team. Okay, just look. If you're so much better, just beat me. That's all I'm saying.
I had a Twitter war with a couple of people about. Never mind. Anyway,
we'll talk about it later. All right, let's hit these quick hits. We had a ton of fights. Ohio State had pepper spray and cops on the 50-yard line. Ton of fights in college and even in the NFL this week. Lots to do with flag planting and being disrespectful and who's going to take what and fighting back. What's your take on celebrating in sports, and when do you think it goes too far?
Look, just to put this out there before that, I mean, I'm also one of those guys that if I'm celebrating and we beat you, I'm going to let you know. But there is a limit. Like, I get it, man. If you win, you win. You're allowed to go celebrate. But if you're in someone else's stadium and you're planting a flag on their logo, that's a little bit more than celebrating. That's like pouring gasoline on a fire, and not expecting them to react. It's crazy. Like,
True.
So first
maybe
off,
before when like Baker did it 10 whatever years ago, that's when it was like they were already walking off the field. They didn't really stick around. But now that people know and they see a flag going to the middle of their field, now they're like,
hey, what's that guy going? Yeah, exactly. So the thing, like, first off, again, if you don't want teams to celebrate like that, or if you don't want them to celebrate at all, or come at you like that, then win the game. Be better.
Do your job.
That's exactly how it is. If you're a lesser team, and I'm not saying like you're a lesser person, but some teams do have more talent than other teams. Some teams just win on that day. Some teams have that get up and go. They could be 0-12 and they face the team that they want to beat. Then they'll go 1-13. But if you're not that team and you're gonna lose the game, that's what's gonna happen. Now, for the other team, if you're as disrespectful to go and try in someone else's stadium, I get it. Do whatever you want in your own stadium, in your own city, in your own town. But you're gonna do it in their stadium. You're gonna go plant the flag there. Okay, you got balls. You're also very disrespectful. Fine, we deserve it because we deserve to watch you celebrate. But
it's meant to be disrespectful,
right? Yeah. But do not expect the other team to come back at you, and then you're gonna cry like, "Well, you should take losing better." No, fool. You try to plant a flag on their logo in their stadium, that's disrespectful, and if you get like super serious about it, that's coaching. You gotta coach better. You gotta teach your men to be men.
Ooh,
yeah, you know what I mean? Teach your men to be men. You wanna be a man about it? Then fine. Plant the flag outside of the field and then leave.
Just leave it in the front, leave it at the door of the stadium.
Leave it on the sign, like go to the church. I'd go to the school, plant it on the school. But yeah, so if you're man enough to do that, if you're brave enough to plant the flag like that, don't start crying after when the other team comes to smack you around. Then the security has to save you.
One of the running backs, I think, for Michigan or one of the teams that was like the underweight team that won, I thought had a good point. He's like, you guys are all fighting and causing a buck now. You should have been fighting during those 4 quarters. That's when we do the fighting.
Yeah.
And then that disrespect comes along at the end. People take it as disrespectful. You see that fight. It's one thing to like plant a flag at Veterans Memorial Stadium in American Samoa, right? Where everyone
because it's not a home field for everybody. Yeah.
Right. But to do it in an away stadium, it's meant to be disrespectful. It's meant to be like, this is ours now, flag planting, colonization, settling. And I can see how people, especially after coming off a big loss, emotional loss, and Ohio State was favored to win that game, right? They were trying to go to the Big Ten championship.
Ohio State was like, the number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
And Michigan had they just came off a championship. They're like 5-6.
Yeah.
Their coach is trying to like. He's got help from the alumni. They're paying like $10 million for quarterbacks to flip because they're not good enough right now, and they get a win like that. Their coach is garbage. Sharon, whatever the hell his name is garbage. He's got anyway.
What's that? To me, it looked like Ohio State was like, "Yo, we expect to win this game," and then when they did it,
it was
like
fault.
It was sore loser, right?
Definitely,
I mean, it's definitely disrespectful flag planting, but
right.
To go and like grab the flag, Jack Sawyer throws it, and then a huge brawl in the middle of the field where cops needed to come in and freaking pepper spray people. People were bloodied leaving the So that's crazy. Don't let it get to that.
Prime example of a classy championship type team. If you guys watched the USC Notre Dame game before the Notre Dame game, if you have to meet in the middle of the field, hey, don't laugh, man. If you have to meet in the middle of the field, don't step on the logo. You can have your meeting. You just step around it.
Oh, nice.
Notre Dame players, they didn't step on the logo. They didn't do nothing. Even after the game, they sang their song off to the side. Their alma mater met with their, but
respect. Nice.
Right. They circled the middle at the 50-yard line. They circled the emblem of the logo and had their meeting there. No problem whatsoever. Again, just goes to coaching and the culture of the team that you're at. The school that you're playing for, just everything where you come from. So, shout out to Notre Dame for being classy, man.
What was the name of the Notre Dame lineman that punched the USC player in the face?
What was the name of the USC player that tried to break his ankle?
Oh,
okay, then that's what I thought.
All right. Let us know if you're listening to this and you lost a game at your home stadium and the away team trying to plant a flag at midfield. What would you do? Is that fair game to start a fight, or do you just have to take that L?
Me and Nancy are in agreement. If you don't want flags planted on your field, win the game. If you don't want people to punch you in the face, don't plant the flag.
Yeah, it depends on the outcome you're searching for. Okay, just do your job. An NFL team is on a 3-game losing streak. How many points do you think they've scored total across those 3 games?
Are you telling me this because I'm a Raider fan?
No. just a 3-game losing streak.
A 3-game losing streak. How many points do I think they scored? I have to say in total. I'll go base like 27.
27 total over those 3 games.
The
Bengals have scored 94 points over their last 3 games, all losses. What is going on in Cincinnati? I'm feeling really bad for Joe Burrow. He's starting to look even more dejected. He's like, playoffs is the furthest thing from my mind. I'm just trying to come in and do my job each week now.
This speaks more to your defense than it does about your team as a whole.
For sure.
So, we feel bad for Joe Burrow, but at the same time, Joe Burrow, go talk to your defense. Go inspire them.
He's like, that's not my job, guys.
Do something, man. Go inspire them, man. Please go and I don't know, but that's a lot of points though. And then you want to say, well, that also speaks to the other team's defense. Yeah, kind of, but it's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's job to go out there and Chase Brown to score points, and they're doing that. They're doing their job. They're
44-38. The Steelers win in a freaking AFC North shootout. That's not what we usually get, right? And you'd expect the Ravens to be in a score this big.
Well, I mean, it's tough though, but also it's like vintage Russ Wilson.
Yes. Yes.
That was so good to see. Sorry, man. Let me let the paint of my ass in the house. In real quick.
Come on back in the house, doggy.
Right. I got you. Sliding door,
he didn't get a doggy door. No, it's too cold up here. It was like 26 degrees here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was just about that here. But yeah,
speaking of old beautiful dogs, Russell Wilson, 29-38, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick, only took 2 sacks, 80.5 QBR, 126 passer rating.
And the 2 sacks is crazy because that's good for him right now. He's older. His escapability, we used to love. That was really a big part of his game when he was with Seattle and they were winning like that. But he's lost a step or two. He's older.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, the 2 sacks is – and also that line, they lost Troy Fautanu for the season. Lost a couple other guys for the season. So, they're doing their best. they're a rebuilt line right now. They're not a bad line, just a rebuilt line. So some of those guys have to pop in mid-season and learn to play with the others. So,
Yep. Shout out to Mike Tomlin. Shout out to Arthur Smith, even the new offensive coordinator
right,
for the Steelers.
right,
The
right.
Steelers are a surprising 9-3, have the lead in the AFC North over the Baltimore Ravens, who have two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. It is very surprising. Russell Wilson looking like a good vet, like better than Aaron Rodgers, right? Not totally washed like he did in Denver.
Right. He's looking like what the New York Jets fans wanted Aaron Rodgers to look like.
Yeah. And this, I saw this thread by Brookie32. Russell Wilson showed you go where you're appreciated. Saquon Barkley showed you don't need to stay where you're overworked and overlooked. Both are thriving. Take those lessons and heat it to your real life. Go, Sean Payton did not like Russell Wilson. They might have paid him a lot of money before Sean Payton came in, and that's kind of another thing about this. Was he traded or he was released? He was released and assigned with the Steelers. Yeah. But because the Broncos owe him so much money, the Steelers only had to pay like $1 million to have Russell for the one season left in this contract.
And because he signed that contract, Denver has to pay out all the money. Like had he signed like a multiple year contract, like he would have. I think the Steelers would have taken on a little bit more than what they should have, but Denver is paying the brunt of the contract. And I just feels like so weird, like that. I get it, man. If you're a coach, you like your guys, you want them to play a certain way. But if you're gonna have a guy there that's already there, like it's not like you can go out and just like, yeah, let me get that guy. We're gonna switch. Like, how are you not working with that guy? I think Sean Payton went out of his way to not make things, not make things work with Russ Wilson. And there were rumors of him like wanting a office for his personal trainer and stuff like that. I get it. There's some guys are like that, but he's not the only.
He had a lot of requests. High maintenance, had his own office in Denver.
So I mean, Aaron Rodgers asked the teams to sign his broke ass receivers, and they do it. You know what I mean? They bring. I'm not talking about DA. You think I'm talking about?
I forgot that Devontae Adams was there. Yeah, that's true. I was thinking Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard. Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? And so they do that, but whatever. Yeah, Brooke hit it on the head. And there's definitely, I think there's a lot of guys who are gonna see that this offseason and look for places where they can go and be relevant and be wanted. Somewhere somewhere they can go play where they'll make a difference still and be happy. Why would you go why would you stay somewhere where you can't be happy and play?
Money. If you were the Steelers, if you were the GM for the Steelers, would you keep Russell Wilson? I mean, you got him for super cheap. The Broncos are paying his contract. You only had to give him $1 million. But would you extend Mr. Unlimited past this year? Still old, but showing you good stuff. What do you think?
I would. Because now, like, it's another question you have to ask is, was it really Art Smith's fault in Atlanta now? Because now he's over here in Pittsburgh and he's actually got an offense that's moving. They're working. He didn't have a quarterback there. He worked with Ritter. Not to say Ritter's not a good quarterback. We haven't seen much from him. Really didn't have a chance. He had some weapons in Atlanta, but he never got a chance to learn the pro game. Like a lot of our rookies that are coming in now. You don't get to see them sit. Bryce Young didn't get to sit. He sat for a few months, found out some things, and look at him now. Now he's a competent quarterback now. Before you could really say like, nah, he's not the guy. He don't look like it. He's scared out there. He's not making plays. But I would, if I was the Steelers, I would sign him because I think him and Arthur Smith, are a good pairing. I think that's what Arthur Smith needed in Atlanta, someone who could run his offense. He's got guys like Pickens playing, he's making Pickens. Pickens is a good receiver, but he's definitely making Pickens look good because that guy's not only is a good receiver, he's also a top-notch asshole.
That short contract then, maybe a year or two. Yeah.
Maybe a year or 2 years, and you give him that, and then that way it either how much it's going to take to keep Justin Fields. you also would like to see if he would like to stick around and maybe learn the game like he didn't have the chance in Chicago to learn, and to learn it from Russ. What other quarterback would be great to learn from, to teach him how to teach him again
Professional.
the escapability in the pocket without having to extend it all the time with your legs. Russ he'll move to the outside, he'll get out of the pocket, he's looking downfield, and then
Man.
maybe at the end he'll run, which he could do. We all know Justin Fields can take off. We've seen him do it in Chicago, 75-yard touchdown run, 60-yard touchdown runs. We've seen him take hits, and he's a bigger quarterback, so we've seen him run over people too. But
Russ had that magic, man. He had that timing. He had that presence in the pocket. He would
yep.
slip around, turn. He would do full 360, turn, run the other
But
way,
the
just
only
getting away from people. And then it would always end in like a moonshot touchdown.
exactly. That's what
He's
I'm
just
saying.
like, I need to stand. I need to be back here for 6 seconds. So I need to get all the way around, run over here, run over here.
So I just gotta
Tyler
find my
Lockett,
spot.
Doug Baldwin, DK. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only other person I ever, like, for me personally, see move in the pocket so masterfully like that is Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have to make those runs. He didn't have to
Yeah.
get out. He never gave up his body like that. He'd like, it's crazy because it looked like he would just step left and no one was there, or step right. Like he made
it was a statuesque mobility. He would
yeah.
always, but he's always like ready to throw the ball. He's just like, I
Yeah.
just gotta avoid these guys, and I'll try to throw it here.
So,
but it wasn't like the run around Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson type, but definitely in the pocket mobility.
I would definitely give him at least another 1 or 2 seasons. And with that, also, I would like to keep Justin Fields long term and talk him into staying and taking over the team as soon as Russ is done. And maybe he'd be on board learning. So yeah, definitely. This past couple games, we haven't seen Ravens wide receiver, which was a big signing, Deontay Johnson. He played 0 snaps versus the Eagles. When the Ravens coach John Harbaugh, what he had to say about it, because he's not injured or anything like that, he said, at this time, I'm going to have to wait just to clarify it. Harbaugh said that on Monday. There's some more moving parts there that we're going to have to figure out and explore and just see where we're at. I know that's not what everyone wanted to hear, and he went on to say forth. But what do you think is going on?
Yeah. Also, when asked about if Deontay Johnson would be staying with the team, Harbaugh said, I'll refer to my first answer. What? And he's like, that's crazy. Like, not only are you not playing with him, you're not even going to confirm that he's going to stay on the team. So something there is definitely weird.
But that's also like, that's just coaching strategy. Like, because you couldn't talk about the first part. Why? And then someone's going to answer like that. You have to give that answer so that way you're not like, you know what I mean? You're not giving away from the first question. And then, like, if you do answer the second question, that kind of just confirms it, like it's something really going on. So, yeah.
But not answering and not being plain with it just kind of that Streisand effect, right? To try to scrub the evidence just makes people like, oh, I heard that these people are trying to hide something. Let's all look into it now. And now this is definitely getting more views. Lamar tried to calm it down, saying, I talked to him where he's just got to stay ready, encourage him to be prepared, kind of learn the system better. Maybe he'll get more playing time. According to some of the Reddit thread on the Ravens with Reddit, Deontay Johnson wants to be released so he can play wide receiver 1 for somebody. He hasn't played a bunch of snaps for Baltimore. A couple times that he's gotten in, he's like fallen down or only gotten like 1 catch or 1 target even in some of these games. So allegedly the Ravens just traded for him so another wide receiver needy team couldn't get to him, which I don't know if I believe that because they didn't trade jack for him.
That's what I'm saying.
They traded away a 5th round pick for him and a 6th round pick. Like that's barely anything. It's a pick swap. So he's just got to be ready. If he is trying to get his release, and it's weird because maybe he didn't want to be traded to the Ravens, knowing that it was pretty busy there in the receiving room. Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, but definitely not being used enough. I can see that being like, I'm worth more. Release me so I can go play for the Bills or some other team. the Bills might have wanted him. Damn, yeah.
True, but he's still not going to be a wide receiver one on any of these other teams. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what other team he thinks he was going to play wide receiver one for, because he wasn't that in Carolina. So
I think they're wide receiver one in Carolina. I mean, Thielen went down.
I think Thielen was. I mean, and then after that, they might have put him as wide receiver one, but they weren't really looking to him, because after that they kind of just wanted to. They tried to start going to Leggett after that. Mm-hmm. Their rookie wide receiver. They started trying to force the ball towards him. So, and then that's the whole reason Pittsburgh was okay with him leaving, because he just wasn't there wide receiver one anymore either.
Before the Steelers-Ravens game, they asked Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, "Hey, you worried about Deontay Johnson?" He was like, "They don't even use him. We're not worried about him. There's more used players that we're focused on." So, I mean, hopefully that works itself out. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred says there's been discussion around a golden at-bat rule where a team can choose one at-bat in every game to send its best hitter to the plate. So you don't have to wait for the lineup to get down to Shohei or anything. You can swap them in at the 8th spot one time. You can have somebody else that you want. Is this a good idea? What are some pros and cons you can think of for the golden at-bat rule that they're throwing around?
I mean, I just think sports has gotten so gimmicky lately. Like, it's just another thing to add. Like, if people aren't watching the game, it's just like something that they're trying to add to the game for people to get excited about to watch. But I think it takes away from another guy possibly getting his moment in the league. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, somebody else could be. I mean, not only that, it's like, who are you gonna put in? Like, you've seen your guys. You're gonna pick, like, I don't know, some guy off the bench or your best hitter. And then you also could be, maybe he gets injured on that play because he's playing so much. I know that's a stretch. But, like, again, it takes away from, like, other players in the team. And it's just, baseball is one of those sports also for, like, at least a lot of Americans, older Americans. It's like America's game, as they call it. And there's no been real changes to it besides, like, I mean, the designated hitter was a big thing when they brought that in, for the National League, or American League, sorry. And that change was like so long ago. So I don't know. The pros is because also, if you have a hot guy that's been smacking the ball all day long, you could just be like, "Wow, yep, that guy."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If somebody guy's on fire, but then another thing is, like, if you put in Shohei at the 9th spot and he's also batting leadoff at 1,
right?
It could be Shohei back-to-back at bats. So there's definitely, I mean, still in talks, but
they'd have to work out a lot of it. But for me, I mean, when it comes to things like that, I just leave the game as pure as you can, and that's just one of those rules. Like, I don't know, it
feels weird, like a 4-point shot, a 4-point line or something.
Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's like putting the extra bucket above the regular basket, like a 13 above that. You know what I mean? And if you hit the 13-pointer, it's like 4 points. But I mean, the 13-footer is like 14 points. But all right, so Jameis Winston again had a great game. Depends on how you were watching it. Went 34 for 58. Yeah, 497 yards. Just 20 pass yards short of all-time Monday Brady's record of 517 yards. He had 4 passing touchdowns, but 3 INTs.
Jameis Winston, 2 of those interceptions returned for touchdowns. The second one, with like less than 2 minutes remaining, the team kind of gave up. And I kind of feel like Winston is lucky, definitely on fire and a lovable guy, right? People like to watch him and the way he talks and the way he breaks everything down. Even yesterday, he was like, in the press conference, he's like, "I'm just praying on the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes." I was like, that's a real quote from Jameis Winston. But
he gave one up.
According to CBS Sports, Jameis Winston's averages from his 5 start this season, if projected, extrapolated over a full 17-game season, he'd have 34 touchdowns, but 24 interceptions. And then he would have 5,712 passing yards, which would be a new NFL season record. Also, something I learned in the post-game interview on the field with Broncos quarterback Bo Nix. Him and Jameis are both from Birmingham. Jameis is from Bessemer, and Nix is from Pinson, which is just like on the opposite sides of Birmingham, Alabama. So that's pretty cool. Broncos are 8-5, keeping their playoff chance alive. Their playoff pace with that big Monday Night Football win versus Cleveland. Bo Nix had a bad game, 18-35, almost 300 passing yards, but he only had a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he only ran for 4 yards on 3 carries. The defense locked up Jameis Winston late. Jerry Jeudy, though, had a J.
Boy, did he have a game. He also had a moment where I think it was the first foul he caught and reacted to the crowd. Just, he was trying to hear the boos, and they gave it to him.
He was pumping him up. He was like, come on, let me hear it. He would like put his hand behind his ear. I wanted him to do a friggin' mile high salute. Like, I mean, I know that's Denver's, but I thought that would have put the crowd into a rage and the ultimate kind of troll move.
I think had they won, I think he was ready for it if they won.
I wanted to see him do it on that first 40-yard catch up the sideline on the Broncos sideline. I wanted to see him do it when he had that like 50-yard touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, revenge game for the ages, most ever in NFL history, receiving yards versus a former team. He had 13 targets, 9 catches, 235 yards, and a touchdown. Also a 2-point reception. 40.5 PPR fantasy points is the 7th most points in a game this year. Yeah, 13 targets, 9 catches, 235 yards, and a touchdown. Those are all above his averages, right? 41 targets over the last 4, but before this game, only 11 targets was his most. I think he did it twice. He also had 9 catches in this game. His high previously was 7 catches for 73 yards versus the Chargers. His season average is 4.5 catches a game. 235 yards is definitely going to be his season high. It might even be his career high. Previous season high before this was 142 versus the Saints. But his average, including that 200-yard game, is only 73 yards per game. And for touchdowns, I don't know if he's going to have a multiple touchdown game. He's only had 3 total, 1 each in weeks 1, 11, and 13. The Broncos, though, their playoff chances entering the season were 17%, now up to 65. However, they're going to be one of those late teams. So, quick, do you think they would stand a chance versus the Chiefs or the Bills? Because that's probably going to be one of the teams that they face.
I do think they have like a really, really small percentage of getting it, only because if they're going to get to the playoffs and have to play those guys, they're going to be hyped to be just in the playoffs, you know?
You got a cigar?
It's different for like, when... No cigar.
No cigar? Buen cigar.
For everybody out there who has parents dementia, if they're dealing with it, I feel you guys. I love you guys. It's not that hard, but it's always crazy. So it's always an event. It's always an event. That's my pops. Love him to death. We're never trading anything that's going on right now with me and him, my mom, my sisters. So always great to have him around. But as we were talking, I think once the Broncos get to the playoffs, I think they'll switch modes into like playoff mode, and I think they'll give whoever they get a good run. But those two teams also, when they get to the playoffs, are very different. They're also going to switch modes, and the hope is they're not one of those teams that really play to the team that they're playing's level. They play playoff football no matter who they're playing. So if they have a chance, it's very small. That's what I'm saying. It's funny because I'm just like, I finally just taking a look at wrestling nowadays again, like getting back into it. But in last week's Survivor Series, it was the OG bloodline versus the new bloodline. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, CM Punk, they defeated Solo Sikoa, Tongaloa, Tamotonga, Jacob Fatu, and Bronson Reed. Isn't it crazy that I just read off so many Polynesian?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, the Fatu family, off of Sika, they created their own wrestling school. They put all their family through this wrestling school, and now you're seeing the payoff from it. Like, these guys are in it. So great to see.
The 5-on-5 War Games match. There's also the women's War Game match that started it. I don't know. It's 2 rings next to each other, and in a steel cage.
It's a lot going on.
Or like in a steel fence, right? But there are also the one person from each team starts in the ring, in the cage. And then there's the other 4 members of the team are in their own separate steel cages up the ramp. And they have to wait in the steel cage until like 5 minutes pass, and then one person at a time gets let out, alternating. So it takes a long time for the match to start, because the match doesn't technically start until all 10 people are in the ring at the same time. So it goes 2 people, and then 5 minutes, one person comes in, 5 minutes, another person comes in, 5 minutes, one person comes in, 5 minutes, another. So it takes a long time to set up, but the entire time they're beating each other up, and then it's kind of a quicker match once the bell does ring, because everyone's already tired and a bunch of spots and moves have been
maybe
done.
3 minutes would be better, or even 2.
I just don't like seeing them in the cage. Like, should we just do Royal Rumble? Can you just wait in the back and then just come out every 5 minutes instead of like just standing there? I mean, I guess it does make for some. I don't know.
I'd be fighting in the cage.
Hey, CM Punk, Roman, they were in their own. I mean, the teams are in their own separate cage, so you shouldn't be fighting your teammates. But Roman and CM Punk had some drama. CM Punk was about to jump out as the third person, but he stopped him and told Sami Zayn to go. And then CM Punk and Roman Reigns were like staring each other down in the cage. And it's got its own like, gimmicks and spots, but definitely Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's big 350 pounds jumping off the top of the cage to try to like tsunami splash Roman Reigns. CM Punk grabbed him off the table at the last second. Bronson Reed looking like he shattered his ankle. And then Jimmy Uso with the huge Uso splash off the top rope, putting Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, through a table. But the ending is where I'm like, okay, we're getting more story in it, because Roman Reigns team were the last 5 left. Solo Sikoa was the only one in his team left. Everybody else was down. So he's about to get jumped. But Roman Reigns like offered to hug him. He was like, let's end this. Let's bury this. We're family, Let's just make up right now here at War Games. And Solo Sikoa was like, F that. I'm gonna hit you with a Samoan flame right now. Ah! Right? And then freaking main event, Jey Uso comes out the side and super kicks him away. OG Bloodline takes the win. But where do you go from here? Is Solo going to refold back in with the rest of them? It's going to be a super Bloodline. Are they still going to fight? Are they going to make up? How is it going to happen? Is Jacob Fatu going to become the external leader of a new place? I don't know. Storytelling is going great. Justice Sapoli says you'll get your ass whooped if you FAMU at the wrong time. We posted this on the BALLINESIAN IG. Definitely check it out. What are your thoughts on this?
That's a very true statement. You got to be in the right environment. You got to be right next to the right people. Like, hey, there's a lot of people who aren't Samoan or Polynesian. They know that when the FAMU starts, you might want to leave wherever you're at. Depending on what, you can always tell at the event what the FAMU means. So like,
is it a celebratory FAMU, or is it we're about to fight FAMU?
Because you can hear like at graduations, when you hear it, celebration, definitely.
Yeah.
When you're at like family stuff and people start dancing, or like what is it? An exhibition of like culture and people start dancing again when the cars start going. Definitely celebratory, But if you're at a bar or at a concert, you're in a crowd. Know that
if you're somewhere with alcohol, it's a whole different FAMU.
Yeah, if there's a group and there's a cooler next to them, and if t-shirts are off, definitely start to move your party elsewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna do favorite Christmas movies next week. The best Christmas movies. We'll do that next week. Any shout outs before we go?
Oh man, this week has been pretty quiet, man. Sure, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Sammy. It's your birthday. I know that should be your shout out, but I'm gonna steal it. Shout out to everybody playing fantasy, because it's coming down to that time where you either know you're in the path or you don't, or you're really fighting hard and you're really, really in there every day on the wire trying to get the right people to help you win. Shout out to the whole fantasy football world out there. Let's go. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Shout out to Sammy. Happy birthday. We had a great time. We went to a Christmas market. We got breakfast. We're gonna go watch a movie today. The party continues. She is also freaking like third in or she's fourth in the
she's
Superflex
fourth.
League.
Because you tried to beat her.
I did not try. I did. I'm gonna do what I did. No. She's fourth. I'm fifth. We're trying to both make the playoffs. If we both win this league, it's like $1,200, and we're gonna take Nora to Disneyland. But we have to come in like first and second for that to happen. But shout out to her. Happy birthday. Love you. Also, shout out to Levasa Island Apparel. Again, on Instagram, Le_Vasa. Throw for the culture and catch the wave. Shout out to the Polytickin Network, the podcast, the Patreon at Polytickin Podcast, Pacifica Movie Starter Kit. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Polytickin Network. Yeah, and follow us on all platforms. Also, shout out to Avea676 on TikTok, who took home Comedy TikTok of the Year, like award. Shout out to him. His stuff is hilarious. Obviously, his daughters are a part of a lot of it.
I was going to say, he's going to have to share that award with his daughters, definitely.
I don't know if it's pre-written. I think some of them are pre-written, but the way he catches their dynamics and how they're always like fighting or competing and stuff, it's hilarious. It makes me want 5 more kids right now. But yeah, shout out to him. That was huge watching him accept the award for Comedy TikTok of the Year.
That's dope.
Definitely follow us, subscribe to the shows, rate 5 stars, please. Leave comments and definitely share. That this sports podcast is here. The Polytickin Network is here with all your family and friends. Hopefully we can get a good December and Christmas month going. And we're happy to be here. And that you guys are listening. Before we go to the library. I don't know. Go do some good. Anything else? Yeah, get outside. Touch grass.
If you live in the PNW, the sun's out right now, at least here in Federal Way. If it's out where you're at in the PNW, please go outside, because I don't know how many more sunny days we're going to get, in these next few months. So enjoy the sun. Like I said, touch some grass. Don't eat it.
Yeah. Go get that sun out there. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back same time next week. Well, maybe not same time. We'll be back next week. So definitely stay tuned. Our recording schedule is again a little wonky, but definitely thank you very much for tapping in and trusting us with your entertainment and sports news here for the Chargers, Raiders, NFL, and everything else. Someone's talking about sports. This has been the BALLINESIAN Podcast. Catch you guys next week. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay ballin', love and light. Peace.
Choo.